Welcome to Market Nerd, where seasoned analysts break down listed companies on the Philippine Stock Exchange. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell to get the latest developments and investment ideas in the financial markets. Let's dive in.
Welcome to the deep dive. This is where we take a specific question, often something you've asked about, and really get into the details using the sources we have.
That's right.
And today, you wanted us to look into GMA Network's financials, specifically comparing their revenue and income, 2021 versus 2024.
Yeah, those are interesting years, both pre-election, typically when ad spending ramps up.
Exactly. So, should be peak times. And our source for this is GMA's SEC Form 17A, filed just this April 15th, 2025.
It's pretty comprehensive. Gives us a good window into their operations, their finances.
No, you also raised some points, some context. The whole Tito, Vic and Joey situation, maybe TV5 gaining some ad share because of that.
Right. That's a potential factor people are talking about.
And the idea that maybe GMA's 2024 performance looks a bit like 2019 did, back when ABS-CBN was fully operational, as if that post-shutdown benefit faded.
Yeah, that's the other angle. Has the competitive landscape shifted back somehow?
So the mission here is to see what this financial report actually tells us. Can we answer? What were GMA's revenue and net income in 2021? How does that stack up against 2024?
And are there clues in the report about why things changed? Does it mention anything about future expectations, any forward guidance?
Okay, let's get started. Maybe give us a quick overview of GMA's business first.
Thank
Just
you.
the basics?
So core business is obviously radio and TV broadcasting, but they've got a structure beneath that. Subsidiaries like GMA New Media, that's their digital arm.
Okay.
CityNet Network Marketing and Productions, TV production there. GMA Network Films for movies, and GMA Ventures, which is their investment side.
Got it. And didn't you mention joint ventures too?
Yep. IQ7 Interactive and Philippine Entertainment Portal, PEP, both in internet publishing, plus an affiliate, our GMA Network.
So it's a pretty spread out media group.
It is. And channel-wise, beyond the main GMA channel, there's GTV that used to be GMA News TV until early 2021.
Oh, I remember the rebrand.
Then iHeart Movies launched April 21, and they also had Hally Pop and Pinoy Hits, but those actually stopped broadcasting in September 2024.
Oh, interesting timing. And competitors.
Well, yeah, TV5 is a big word, especially since their partnership with ABS-CBN kicked off around March 2021. And there's ALL TV, too. It's definitely not a one-horse race.
Definitely not. Okay, so in this competitive space, how does GMA measure its own success? What are their key performance indicators, their KPIs?
Well, for advertisers, the big one is household ratings. They rely on AGB Nielsen for that data. Higher ratings mean more demand for ad slots.
Makes sense.
They also track load factor. That's basically the percentage of their available ad time that they actually manage to sell.
Efficiency, basically.
Exactly. And signal reach is important too. Broader coverage attracts national advertisers. For their international channels, it's more about subscriber counts.
Like GMA, Pinoy TV?
Yeah, Pinoy TV, Life TV, News TV, International. And across the board, there's always a focus on keeping costs under control. That's a constant theme.
Okay, cost control, reach, ratings, load factor. Got it. So let's talk revenue. The report gives us 2023 numbers as context. How did things look then?
Right. So for 2023, airtime advertising was still king, naturally. They mentioned hit shows like Abad Kamay Pangarap and Volts V Legacy, helping keep ratings strong.
Okay.
But interestingly, while the main channels did okay, their DTT channels, Hally Pop, Pinoy Hits, saw a revenue decline. And the report links that to them, eventually ceasing operations later in 24.
Oh, okay. So that was already being felt. Any bright spots in 2023?
Yeah, regional TV stations actually saw a pretty decent increase in sales, about 20%.
And what about online, digital advertising? Everyone's pushing that.
Oh, absolutely. That was a major growth story in 2023 for them, up 73% compared to 2022.
73%. Wow.
Yeah, and if you take out the 2022 election ad spending, the sort of underlying growth was even stronger, 78%. So clearly a big shift towards digital ads.
That's a really significant jump. Any other revenue streams worth noting from 2023?
Well, there's a category called Other Sources. Includes things like selling the GMA Afford a Box, GMA Now, that saw a net increase overall, about 9%.
Okay.
And subscription video on demand, SVOD, also grew. They mentioned deals with View and Netflix.
For specific shows?
Yeah, like Unbreak My Heart and Maria Clara at Ibarra. Plus, production revenues were up from new media, Alta, GMA Music, and film production via GMA Pictures added new revenue, too.
So lots of moving parts, but did they mention sales volume for the Affordabox?
Good point. Yes, they did note that while the revenue from consumer sales increased overall, the actual number of units sold for Affordabox and GMA now actually decreased in 2023.
Interesting detail. Okay, so 2023 had strong digital growth, solid regional TV, but maybe some softness in hardware sales volume in the DTT channels.
Right.
Now let's look at the big picture. Consolidated financials, 2022, 23, 24. What's the story there?
Okay, looking at the consolidated revenue figures from the statements, there's a clear downward trend.
Downward. Okay.
In 2022, consolidated revenue was P21,564 million, roughly 21.5 billion pesos.
Right.
Then in 2023, it dropped to P18,637 million, so 18.6 billion.
Okay, noticeable dip.
And 2024?
Down again. P17,564 million, or 17.5 billion. So yeah, a steady decline over those 3 years in total revenue.
Okay, that's the top line.
Yeah.
What about the bottom line? Consolidated net income for those same years.
That trend is, well, even more stark. In 2022, consolidated net income was strong, P7,569 million, about 7.5 billion.
Very profitable year.
Definitely. But in 2023, it fell to P5,457 million. Still over 5.4 billion, but a significant drop.
And 24.
A much bigger drop, down to P2,069 million, just over 2 billion pesos.
Wow, okay. From 7.5 billion down to just over 2 billion in 2 years? That's
It
substantial.
really is a very significant decrease in profitability for the consolidated group.
Does the report explain why such a big drop, especially in 2024?
Yes, in the Management Discussion and Analysis, or MD&A section, they directly attribute the 2024 decline, both revenue and income, to two main things: higher cash operating expenses.
Their costs went up. Costs went up, and overall revenues went down. It's that classic squeeze, spending more while earning less.
Right. That'll definitely hit the bottom line hard. Okay, now let's try to address the core question you wanted answered. The comparison between 2021 and 2024, but specifically for the parent company, GMA7 itself. What revenue figures do we have?
Okay, so looking at the parent company statements, we have the 2023 parent revenue, P 18,299 million, call it 18.3 billion.
Right.
And the 2024 parent revenue, P 17,177 million. So 17.1 billion. Again, a decline from 23 to 24, mirroring the consolidated picture.
Okay, but what about 2021? That was the comparison year you were focused on.
And this is the key limitation we need to highlight. The report we have, the 2025 filing covering up to 2024, it does not explicitly state the parent company's revenue figure for 2021.
So we can't directly compare 2021 parent revenue to 2024 parent revenue using just this document.
No, unfortunately not. We see the 23 to 24 drop for the parent, but the 2021 number isn't broken out in the same way in these specific statements.
Okay, that's crucial. What about net income for the parent company? Can we compare 2021 and 2024 there?
It's the same situation, I'm afraid. The parent company's statement of changes in equity in this report only shows the balances and movements for 2023 and 2024. The 2021 net income figure for just the parent company isn't explicitly provided here.
So no direct comparison possible for the parent company's 2021 revenue or net income based on this SEC filing alone.
Correct. We see the recent trend, 2022 down to 2024 consolidated, and 2023 down to 2024 for the parent. But that specific 2021 parent benchmark isn't available in this source.
Understood. Okay, let's revisit those potential influencing factors you mentioned earlier. The listener's note about TV5 possibly gaining share, and the comparison to the 2019 pre-ABS-CBN exit landscape. Can we infer anything from this report?
Well, the report doesn't give us TV5's numbers, obviously, but we did see GMA's advertising revenue go down in 2024. Consolidated, it was P16.2 billion, down from P17.1 billion in 2023. And for the parent company alone, ad revenue fell from P15.7 billion in 23 to P14.5 billion in 24. Now, we can't say for sure where that money went. The decline in GMA's main revenue stream does lend some credence to the possibility that advertising budgets might be shifting. Maybe towards competitors like TV5, especially given the timing of the TVJ move and other market changes. It's suggestive, but not proven by this report alone.
Okay, plausible but not confirmed here. And the 2019 comparison, the idea that maybe 2024 looks like those tougher pre-ABS-CBN shutdown days.
Again, we don't have the 2019 numbers in this report to do a direct side-by-side. But that sharp drop in net income for GMA in 2024, down to P2 billion from P7.5 billion just 2 years prior. Well, it certainly shows that the huge profit levels they saw immediately post-ABS-CBN shutdown haven't been sustained.
So the competitive advantage might have eroded.
It might have. It seems plausible that with, TV5 potentially stronger, maybe other players emerging, the advertising pie is being sliced differently now than it was in, say, 2022.
Right.
But concluding it's exactly like 2019 levels. We can't definitively say that just from these figures.
And we know those DTT channels, Halipop and Pinoy Hits, stopping also played a part in the revenue dip, however small.
Yes, that was explicitly mentioned as contributing to a decline in their DTT revenue segment.
Got it. So we see the numbers going down. We can speculate about competition, but this report alone doesn't give us all the answers on causation. What about looking ahead? Does the report offer any forward guidance, any predictions?
There's a section in the MD&A that touches on known trends, events, or uncertainties. They're quite clear that the results hinge heavily on advertising sales,
Which makes sense.
and that those sales, in turn, are tied to the general health of the Philippine economy. So it's sort of stating the obvious, perhaps, but it acknowledges those dependencies.
Anything more concrete about their plans or outlook?
They do mention allocating $326 million for capital expenditures in 2025, CapEx, and they say this will be funded internally.
Okay, so some investment planned.
And importantly, for anyone wanting fresher numbers, they state their intention to file the first quarter 2025 results of the SEC Form 17 QAnon, or before May 15th, 2025.
So more current data is coming fairly soon.
Exactly. So no detailed profit forecasts or anything like that, but they point to the key variables and signal when the next update is due.
Good to know. Any other financial tidbits in the report that caught your eye?
Yeah. They declared cash dividends, P.660 per share in 2024. That's down from P1.10 per share the year before in 2023.
Another sign of the tighter financial situation, perhaps.
Could be interpreted that way. The report also notes the stock prices for GMA7 and GMP as of mid-April 2025. And just a reminder about their franchise, it runs until 2042, granted back in 2017, so they have long-term regulatory permission to operate.
Okay, good context. Let's try and wrap this up then. Based on this deep dive into the 17A filing, what are the main takeaways for our listener who asked about this?
I think the clearest takeaway is the undeniable decline in GMA's consolidated revenue and, even more sharply, their net income between 2022 and 2024.
Right. That trend is very clear.
And while we couldn't get that direct 2021 versus 2024 comparison for the parent company from this specific document, the 2023 to 2024 drop at the parent level fits the overall pattern. It suggests they're facing some headwinds in maintaining those peak financial results seen a couple of years ago.
And revisiting our initial questions, we got some answers, but not all.
Pretty much. We saw the trends from 2022 onwards. We saw the 2023 and 2024 parent numbers, but the 2021 parent figures weren't explicitly there. We saw ad revenue dip in 24, which could relate to competition, but it's not definitive proof from this report. And forward guidance was limited, mainly focusing on reliance on ad spend in the economy.
So it really highlights how a single financial report, even a detailed one like a 17A, give you a vital snapshot, but maybe not the whole movie.
Exactly. You need context, competitor data, market analysis to really understand the full story behind the numbers.
So for you, our listener, maybe some follow-up thoughts. First, keep an eye out for those Q1 2025 results coming mid-May that might show if these trends are continuing or changing.
Yeah, that'll be the next data point. And maybe look for broader media industry reports on advertising spending trends in the Philippines during this period. That could add valuable context.
And maybe a final thought to leave you with. Given these financial shifts we've seen, particularly the drop in profitability, what strategic adjustments might a company like GMA Network need to think about in this clearly evolving media landscape?
That's the big question facing them, I suppose. Thanks for joining us for this deep dive.
Liked what you heard? Drop a comment, like, and share this episode. Hit subscribe and tap the notification bell. We've got more insightful market ideas coming your way. Catch you on the next one.